Hey everybody, and welcome to my next reaction to Star Wars Tales of the Jedi, and we are on episode 4, The Sith Lord. So, I mean, that sounds pretty self-explanatory on what's going on here. No guarantees though. I know they've already teased a couple times with Dooku's fall to the dark side. This may or may not be the episode where it happens. It may not even happen in the series. I don't know. They have been teasing it quite a bit. Obviously, somehow, Palpatine's got to be involved somehow, or at least some other Sith character has got to be involved with this, with the name the Sith Lord. So, this has been such a fantastic series in terms of, like, we've only gotten one Ahsoka episode so far, basically her birth, but seeing basically how at such a young age she was so strong with the Force. But then the other two episodes we've seen have been Dooku heavy, and kind of seeing like his fall start. And it's actually kind of amazing because someone had commented on how during the Clone Wars how Dooku pretty much fell off all of his ideals, which is an amazing comparison to Revenge of the Sith, where Obi-Wan was telling Anakin that he had become the very thing he swore to destroy. And we're kind of seeing that take place with Count Dooku, because we see his ideals, how idealistic he is, and how he's so against the corruption of the Senate, but yet how after he himself becomes Sith apprentice to Palpatine, and then everything throughout the Clone Wars, how basically all the ideals that Dooku had, while that may have caused him to leave the Jedi and, you know, join the Sith, basically all the ideals that he stood for, he basically just completely threw out the window in the name of power. You know, and it is amazing. You know, they always say that, absolute power corrupts absolutely, something along those lines. Well, we see it in full force apparently with Count Dooku, because we see how at first he has all these ideals that are meant to help the people, but then he ended up pretty much, if you just call it what it is, became an enemy of the people. And it's just amazing seeing how everything started for him and how you can almost sympathize, but then it's kind of like, wow, dude, you kind of took it too far. It's almost like, again, a mirror of Anakin Skywalker, what really caused his fall, but then you saw what he became, and it's just like, whoa, dude, what happened? So it's really fun seeing this. So I'm assuming this is probably another Dooku heavy episode. Really looking forward to see what happens here. We will go ahead and get started. If you have Disney Plus and also are a member of my Patreon, feel free to follow along on there. It will be a full watch along where it will just be my watching of the episode. It won't be my monologue prior or monologue after. It's just going to be the watch along, but it will be the full episode, so feel free to watch along there. You can have the episode on one window and my reaction on the other, and we can watch along with this together. So let's go ahead and get started.
Archive memory access. Please enter security clearance code. Code accepted. Master Sidious.
Wait, what?
Planet Camino. Camino. Location deleted.
It was him? He did it? Whoa. Oh. 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 That's gonna take a minute for me to recover.
Master.
I heard of your report to the Council, and you believe it was a Sith Lord.
Yes.
I gather the Council was not eager to validate that conclusion.
No, they were not, Master.
I've been warning them about the coming darkness for years.
So you doubt his claim?
No, I do not. But the wisdom of the Council is to be cautious.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm very interested in this character. Clearly of Yoda's species, but speaks, I guess you could say, normal English.
Obi-Wan fills that role now. He acquits himself quite well.
That's good. I should like to meet him someday.
See, I was about to say, yeah, you will meet him at one point when he's a prisoner, when he's your prisoner, but the way things are going, I have no idea. He may encounter him sooner.
I must take my leave.
She senses something's up. That is definitely a character I would love some more backstory on. So the Sith Lord must be Darth Maul. I was thinking it was Palpatine, but based on everything we saw here, that must be Darth Maul they're talking about. Here it is.
Bring Qui-Gon here. As a boy. He was fascinated with this tree.
The council is leaving for Naboo. The funeral is to be held there.
Oh.
It is time to let him go.
And you can do this?
What choice have I?
That says a lot right there. Very little was said, but at the same time, a ton was said.
You've gone too far.
I don't know what you mean.
Qui-Gon Jinn, you allowed Maul to kill him.
You lost an apprentice, and so did I.
This ends here, Sith Lord.
Remember what you told me. The Jedi
There it
blindly
is.
serve a corrupt Senate that fails the Republic it represents.
There it is. That's how he gets them. That's how he got Anakin. He uses their emotions and brings them in and uses them for evil, even though he makes them think they're doing it for the greater good. So this is it. Even during the Phantom Menace, Dooku was working with Palpatine. Uh-oh. Ooh. Oh. This still ain't gonna end well for you. You don't show up in anything after this. I do like that symbolism though. How he was in the dark and the light's trying to reach him. That was some good symbolism right there in terms of the light trying to reach him.
Let me give you peace, Master Yaddle.
There it is. There it is. Alright, y'all. That was episode 4, The Sith Lord of Star Wars, Tales of the Jedi, and man, oh man, what an episode. It didn't waste any time in punch in the guts. You know, I'm assuming everybody who's watched this has seen all the Star Wars movies right now, so you'll understand the significance of what happened right at the beginning with Dooku erasing the archive records of the planet Kamino, because Obi-Wan Kenobi was looking for that in episode 2, and then, you know, that was when he tried to go to the archives, but there was nothing found there, and they couldn't figure out who it was that deleted it. And then when Kenobi went to Kamino, you know, and they were talking about, you know, Master Sidious, So you're thinking he was the one initially that probably did it, but then to come here and see that it was Dooku that did it, and not only was it Dooku that did it, but it was under the orders of Palpatine. So even before he became his apprentice, he was working with Palpatine, which really, really is a huge monkey wrench, because you're always so used to the whole idea of when it came to the Sith, it's just the master and the apprentice, and usually, they may have some lackeys working with them, i.e., when they became the Empire, they had all the stormtroopers, but even here, technically, they had the clone troops, but you're really only used to the two. So seeing that you had Palpatine, Darth Maul, but then you had Count Dooku working with them at that same time, which probably really adds to why Dooku felt really hard the death of Qui-Gon Jinn, because you could tell that he cared for Qui-Gon, and he didn't want any harm to come on Qui-Gon, but yet he realizes that he played a role in Qui-Gon's death, which is probably also another reason why he was so quick to believe Qui-Gon in the whole story about him encountering a Sith Lord, even though the Jedi Council was slow to believe it. You could tell that, Dooku had no doubts, but of course he wouldn't have any doubts because he was working with them. So of course he knew that they were there. And you could tell how this illusion he was getting with the Council, even from the last episode, but seeing it take such a turn so quick, and the fact that, in the end it cost him his apprentice, but that was probably one of the final straws, because you saw Palpatine again using Dooku's ideals to pull him in. It's, oh man. It's such a sad thing to see, because you start to realize, like, even though Palpatine himself is definitely the embodiment of evil, don't really know much about Darth Maul's backstory and how he came to be Palpatine's apprentice, but like watching Dooku and watching Anakin / Vader and seeing what it was that caused them to become the apprentice of Palpatine, it all had to do with wanting to help, because Dooku had the ideals. He was fed up with the corruption of the Senate, and you even heard how he was just tired of the Jedi Council working for such a corrupt Senate. With Anakin, it was his desire to not lose people that he cared about. So Palpatine was using all of these strong emotions to bring them to the dark side, which makes it even more understandable why the Jedi were so hard focused on trying to do away with the attachments, because you're looking right here, you had two people who were strongly attached to something, whether it was ideals or people, but those attachments is what drove them to the dark side. But I think that's the thing that made Qui-Gon so great, is because he understood the importance of it, of having strong feelings, having emotions, but he was able to temper those. And a lot of people say that had Qui-Gon lived and trained Anakin probably would never have turned, because Qui-Gon was the Jedi. He was the one Jedi who could help Anakin deal with his emotions regarding his mother, how to deal with him missing her so much, how to deal with accepting loss and anything like that, better than Obi-Wan could have, because Obi-Wan was very strict, adhering to the Jedi teachings, whereas Qui-Gon was willing to go off a little bit. He never allowed himself, to get near to the dark side, but he understood that there was nothing wrong with having some emotional attachments to things. He was able to control it, and he would have been the best teacher for Anakin. And in him being defeated by Darth Maul, that right there really sealed Anakin's fate right there. I've seen it said many times, and you really can't argue. Qui-Gon was the Jedi that should have trained Anakin, and once he was lost, basically Anakin was done for. We're just going to teach it like it is. Obi-Wan for sure was a great teacher, and helping Anakin hone his skills. But as for the emotional aspect of everything, no one could have done the job that Qui-Gon could have done. But all that being said, that really explains a lot to why Dooku felt Qui-Gon's loss so much harder, is because he knew he had a hand in that, but yet the Emperor was still able to turn it around on him and make him think that, it's just, what's the term? A means to an end, trying to bring peace and order to the galaxy. And even, I already forgot that one Jedi's name, like Yaddle or something like that. But even C was saying, how many people, have been lost, for so-called order, and Dooku wasn't having it. But man, what an episode. I can't believe we only got 2 more left. I'm gonna have to research and see if there's a season 2 coming on, because there are some more stories that need to be told. But then again, that kind of depends on what stories are told with episodes 5 and 6. I'm not even gonna lie, there's a part of me that's thinking about doing both of those back to back, because this whole waiting a week for these is starting to be a little much for me, because these have been great. I may combine episodes 5 and 6 for the next one. I'll probably decide that over the weekend. Actually, yeah, I may actually go ahead and do that. With that being said, I will put a poll on YouTube and try to have you guys vote on what TV show to do next. Man, it's gonna take me a minute to get over this. I'm not even gonna lie. That was a heavy episode, but really enjoyed it. This series has been absolutely fantastic. I've thoroughly enjoyed it, and I'm, it's a bummer that it's coming to an end, but that's the way of things. But either way, I will leave it there. Thank you all for stopping by. I hope you all enjoyed the reaction as much as I enjoyed reacting to it, and I will see you guys next week for episodes 5 and 6.